Okay, if you follow my weekly schedules I do for my videos, I have to apologize because today I decided to change it up of what I put on the weekly schedule. So I'm sorry, but I really hope that you enjoyed this video still. Hello friends, happy Wednesday. So very excited that you're here. Very excited that I'm basically kicking off a month-long event focusing on Bessatsu Margaret manga. I am very stoked for this. This is a monthly shoujo magazine that comes out in Japan, and you might have been like me where you're like, what magazine is that? It's not Hanatsume, it's not Dessert, Be-Love, some of these other magazines I feel are pretty popular and more easily recognizable. But when I show you these titles, you're gonna be like, Oh, I've read things in that magazine, because definitely the biggest one that this magazine is most known for is Iosaki Saka manga. I'll Ride, Strobe Edge, Love Me Love Me Not, Sakura Saku, and Daydream Darling, the one that's coming out later this year from Viz Media. I'm very excited. But not only that, My Love Story, also High School Debut, Love Com, and Kimi ni Todoke, as well as Kimi ni Todoke Soulmate, which I didn't grab. All these manga, they debuted and serialized in this magazine. And if you want to have more of a in-depth overview that's not just focusing on manga like how I plan to do, please check out Colleen's video here. I'll leave a link to the corner as well as down below. That video is extremely helpful, and I really like the overview that they gave concerning the manga. So if you want, again, a more in-depth kind of video, be sure to check that out. I mainly just wanted to feature the manga because I have shared that I finally read Love Com and I loved it. I'm going to be having a video review next Friday, because this Friday will be my reading wrap-up video, and I don't know, I just wanted to see what manga was in this magazine and sort of feature it. And today I was technically going to do my top 5 favorite manga from this magazine, and easily you could say it's a stack right here. But I was like, you know, it'd be fun to do an underrated manga video instead, because when I was going through trying to see which manga were part of the magazine for the Shoujo quiz, which the poll went live yesterday if you want to vote for which one we should do next, I'm like, wow, I'm like, there's actually quite a few series that I did not know came from that magazine. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive into, I can't say my top 5 favorite underrated manga from this magazine, mainly because one of them I haven't read, but I have read all the others. So I guess you could say what I feel is super underrated, and don't worry, I'll have like a graphic near the end or a game where you can vote and choose what you feel is some of your favorite underrated manga from this magazine that are not Iosaki Saka or some of the big ones like Love Com, My Love Story, and Kimi ni Todoke, all very wonderful series if I might add, okay? They are fantastic. We will feature them sometime this month. Don't worry. So for number 1, and these will be in no certain order, I did want to feature Home Sweet Home. This is a 3-volume series. Oh, I didn't pull off the rest of the series up from my shelf, but I love this manga. In fact, it was up for voting with my Patreon channel members if I should review this manga this month or Sakura Saku, but when I last looked, Sakura Saku was winning by a lot. Stay tuned for thoughts on that here later this month. Hopefully this snowstorm clears up. We're supposed to be getting actually more stuff. Today is this video going live, so hopefully the roads won't be bad and I'll actually be able to go pick it up here very soon. But yeah, that brings me back to say with Home Sweet Home, 3-volume completed series in English, and it follows our female lead, Momomi, who has moved and traveled a lot because of her father's job, and finally she has found a school. She's made really good friends, and her father gets the news from his job he's gonna have to leave, and she really doesn't want to do that. So she's asking if there's a way for her to stay. She's willing to go live in an apartment by herself, but her dad doesn't want that. So his buddy, actually at work, like her dad, his buddy is like, hey, well, I also need to travel, and my kiddo is looking to have somewhere to stay. And they show pictures because Momi's dad's like, well, as long as it's a girl, it's fine. And he sees the photo and he's like, oh, great. Okay, this is good. 2 girls living together. I don't have a problem. Momi goes to move in and a girl does not walk through the door. It's actually a guy because when their fathers had the conversation, they were both drunk. The picture that his dad shows was of him cross-dressing for like a festival or something like that. So it's Momi's very different adventure that she wasn't planning of living with her senpai and eventually having feelings for them and them having a romance. This is a very fun, feel-good, don't think about it, just enjoy the shenanigans kind of series. I've gushed about it before, and I definitely will have a video review at some point because I really enjoyed this series. The third volume is not my favorite as much as the first two volumes are, but I absolutely love Momi. I love seeing her just navigate this new romance and her really struggling of like, should she say anything because she doesn't want to make things awkward at home, but she's really struggling not to say anything. Seeing her eventually want to confess was really great, and the friendship she has with her best friend, absolutely loved it as well. And Senpai's a very fun character. He's very quiet. I enjoyed how supportive he was, and it's harder to say with him at first, does he like her or does he not? But he may laugh at her and joke around with her, but he genuinely seems to care for her, and I really loved it. It was a fun little series. I just enjoyed my time. It's one of those series where I feel like you just turn your brain off and just let the series shenanigans just wash over you after especially a long day. I do feel like that's why I really love this series, because the times I was reading it, it was like the perfect thing to just help me refresh and decompress. I really loved it for that reason. It's not groundbreaking or anything, but I think it's a series that's fun and deserves to be highlighted if you enjoy shenanigans in a short and quick, easy romance. For number 2, I don't have this series anymore, but Honey So Sweet. I believe this is a 7-volume series in English. It is so cute. If you love the trope of scary face, sort of like delinquent, you will love this manga, or at least the chances are very strong and very high. It is about our female lead. Her name is Nao, and when in middle school, there was a delinquent who had gotten beaten up, and so she left him some bandages and I think an umbrella, and she didn't think anything about it. She was just helping somebody that she felt needed help and went about her way. However, when she goes into high school, she gets a visitor from that same delinquent saying, hey, I want to date you with marriage in mind. Like, he has a big bouquet of flowers, and she's pretty horrified, terrified. She's thinking like, oh my gosh, he's gonna beat me up. He's gonna be mad if I say no, I don't want to date him. Or, you know, when she does end up saying yes, that she's afraid that he will get upset with her if she doesn't agree with the things that he asks. And so it's their very sweet and wholesome romance. It is so cute. The art absolutely shines in this manga. Very cutesy. I was excited to see that a book club that I'm part of online, they recently just read it. I couldn't get the volumes for my library in time, so I couldn't reread it. But I do have a video review on this channel if you're interested in more in-depth thoughts. I really love the romance. I think I eventually decided to let go of this series because I really did love it, but I didn't like some of the love triangle things that happen on near the end of the series, but the side characters were just as fantastic as the main characters. We have one guy who's like really grumpy and really rude, but he ends up getting a crush on one of Nao's friends who had a very different personality than what her friend had. And it was interesting seeing them have a growing romance, but just, I love the trope so much of the scary face, but having a heart of gold. I feel like Taiga, the male lead, he was one that I might have featured in my top 10 best boys of all time, and he still to this day stands out so much. In fact, when I made some haiku pins several years ago, I was actually inspired by Taiga's design in a certain scene that happens near the end when he gets a job. I loved his hairstyle, and I was like, you know what? I want that for Hinata and Kageyama. Make it cute. Boom. And that is the large inspiration. But yeah, if you love where they seem like a delinquent, but they're actually not, they're just misunderstood and have a scary face that works to their disadvantage, but then you have a female lead who sees the heart of gold, that sees their heart and just fully falls head over heels for them, and he's definitely head over heels for her, then this is a series I really suggest checking out. I should have seen if it's on the Viz app. I love all the covers for this series, and I really love how this romance is very, I know I already said sweet, but it is very special because I feel like it's rare that you get a series where the male lead or even the female lead is like, hey, I'm gonna date you with marriage in mind, and you see that unfold through all of the volumes. I mean, how Taiga treats their monthly anniversaries and their yearly anniversaries is very precious, and they're so adorable, so very wonderful, and I just can't recommend it enough. I mean, there is something that happens like with the uncle that I know was a turnoff for several people. Don't worry, nothing ever happens there, but I think just overall, if you like cute art, and again, that heart of gold, this is a series, yeah, that still several years later, I still think fondly of, and I definitely am due for a reread because I need to see this sweet, very precious romance unfold once again. For number 3, another series I think is really underrated from this magazine is Imakoi Now I'm in Love. This is unfortunately a series I did decide to let go. I didn't like the end date. I love the maid couple, or especially the female lead, that is Satomi. She is a young woman in middle school. She never worked up the courage to confess confess her feelings to the guy that she liked. Now that she's in high school, she is determined that she's going to confess to, I think it was like the first guy she sees, or the first guy, I think it's the first guy she likes actually. She ends up getting, I think it's help on a train or something was happening, and so she ends up meeting the male lead, Yagyu, and sure enough, she does actually end up confessing to him and says, I like you, will you go out with me? And to her surprise, he says yes. So these leads are getting together either by the first or second chapter. So if you definitely like that kind of trope where the leads get together super early, yes, this is a really great series for that. And so the manga really explores them dating. What does dating mean? How do you show affection? What's the next step in the relationship as you move forward? I really liked those questions being explored and being asked. I mean, maybe not outright, but for me and what I feel like usually we work up to them getting into a relationship, not starting out right from the gate, basically, of them being in a relationship. It was very, very wonderful. And so I love how Satomi is learning what it means to be a girlfriend, what she wants to do as a girlfriend, how to express her love to Yagyu. It was wonderful. I mean, it truly is the highlight for me with this manga. They're one of my favorite couples, which may sound weird because like, Laura, why did you get rid of it? Well, if you don't want all the sweet, wholesome, and very precious vibes of the main couple, you meet the Yagyu's best friend, who is a very interesting character. I did not like him at first. He rubbed on me as the series went on. And then Satomi, she has not her best friend, who was fantastic, but a different girl, a different character, I don't know her name. She shows up and they have more of a like spicier relationship. I mean, if we have this sweet, wholesome, not saying that theirs is dirty or anything like that, but that character, the girl, she has a lot of feelings. I'm unsure of how to go into that without giving spoilers, but I will just say that I've heard several of my friends say, I didn't really care for Satomi and Yagyu, and I felt the second half was better because it focuses on the other couple. Well, I felt the flip side. I miss Satomi and Yagyu being the main focus, but it is a very fun series, so I do think it gives like the best of both worlds if you're not wanting just sweet, wholesome fluff, which is what I wanted. Which is what I wanted. I do think it has a really great cast of characters though, and very interesting seeing how all these characters decide to move forward in a relationship, the struggles that they have. I really enjoyed seeing so many parts of Satomi and Yagyu's relationship, and I have thought about like, well, because I have another video coming of where do I feel these characters are 5 years later, like mainly romantically wise, and I have thought about these characters and wondered like, what does their life look like now? Because I did think it had a happy ending, but man, I wanted just so much more because that's just how much I really enjoyed this character, or this couple specifically. So yeah, even though I don't have it anymore, I would still recommend it. I have great fond memories, especially of the first half. I loved it, much squealing. I mean, if you were to go on Goodreads and see my reviews of the series, you will see me talk very highly and much squealing about those first half of the series. I actually did not know that this was in this magazine until I went to prepare for this video. So that was a really cool find, and I don't really see many people talk about the series now, so I do feel it is pretty underrated. I would say definitely for number 4, which I'm going to say this standalone, The Secret of Friendship. This is by the same creator as High School Debut and My Love Story, and I'm very shocked that it does not have more hype considering how many people love it. I forgot to mention A Star Brighter Than the Sun as well. That manga is in this magazine too. But considering how popular those 3 series are, I feel like The Secret of Friendship is like one of the most underrated manga that I'm featuring today. I don't understand why. It is such a beautiful, wonderful standalone, especially if you're not overly fond of a romantic focus plot, which may sound a little bit weird because when you hear about this manga, it is about, this is Echo and this is Mo, and they are the best of friends. Very different. Echo feels like she's very plain, very boring, while Mo is very attractive, very beautiful, and gets hit on all the time. But the thing is even though Mo gets hit on all the time and these guys are wanting to date her, she tells them every single time, if you date me, you're dating my friend Echo as well, because she wants her friend Echo to be treated very well and to be cared for, not necessarily like in a romantic sense, but she wants her to be loved too and not be pushed to the side when Mo enters into a relationship. And unfortunately, no guy has been able to live up to this until they meet this one guy. I'm not gonna show a picture of him, but until they meet this one guy who is head over heels for Mo, and he says, okay, I'll date you and treat your friend very well and include her like in their dates and whatnot. But that guy's best friend does not like seeing this kind of sort of treatment because he feels Mo is not treating him right or fairly, and he sort of takes it out on Echo here. This leads to the unfolding of this manga that does have where you see romance, like you see 2 characters like each other. Well, you see a character like another another character and then another character, like a different character, but it's not focused on the romance. It really is a friendship geared story, and I love it so much for that, because even though Echo really struggles with feeling like no guy would ever want to date her, I love how there's a twist with that was very beautiful. And seeing I would definitely read more of this if it became a series, but seeing Echo and Mo's friendship and how much they value the other person is very, very special, and something I easily treasure about this manga, even though it's sort of hard, because I would say on the flip side of that, they treasure each other deeply, but Echo feels like she's bringing Mo down because Mo has this thing where the guys, her boyfriends, have to treat her well. Like, she wants Mo to be genuinely happy, and Mo wants not the guys to go for her, and see how wonderful and valuable Echo is, because when you see their backstories, you can see how much they mean to each other and have helped each other. And I love when they're like, hey, I love you, and there is this really beautiful platonic relationship between them that, I don't know, I feel like it's just, I've seen really beautiful friendship in shoujo manga, and I definitely think that's like a very strong core part of good shoujo manga, but there's something different about this manga that I feel like deserves more time. It deserves more love and attention. I have a video review if you're curious about it, and since it's a one-shot, I mean, it's very low commitment. I have come back to this volume a few times because I really enjoy it. I love seeing how their friendship just shines, and how they're not letting any guy, any boyfriend get between them. They are rock solid, and if any guy really wants to make it work, he gonna have to fight for it. He gonna have to work hard. And so I think it's a really great series, and one I would highly recommend. I deeply have enjoyed my time with it, and I think if you really like the writing of My Love Story, High School Debut, and A Star Brighter Than the Sun, I truly think you should give this a shot, especially, again, if you don't want something that is not romantic heavy or focused on that romance, but just on a really special and wonderful friendship between two girls. For number 5, this is the series I haven't read. I did read chapter 1 this morning, but that's literally all I have read, and I was very shocked because I feel like people have talked about this manga, but it just didn't click. I mean, this is, I don't know if underrated is the right word, but it does feel so underrated, even by Viz Media, that we never fully got it completed in English. Yes, and that is such a sad thing, and it is called Body. It seems to be about a female lead. Her name is Sakura. She's in high school, and her friends think she has a really odd taste in guys. I guess this guy, the male lead, Fuji, she has a huge crush on him. He's got a deep voice. He doesn't seem he's not popular, and he doesn't really stand out. She just thinks he is perfection in every single way. She thinks he's fantastic, but what she doesn't know until she finds out through a very odd way to find out some news is that he actually works as a host. Girls can come to this club and they can date, and yeah, her whole world is flipped upside down basically in the way that she's viewed this guy, because the way he acts at school is 100% different than when he's acting like a host, and she is just so upset by this. It's interesting to me because in the blurb it says that, is he gonna leave his job to date her, or will she take a job at the club so he can quit and she can be with him? But in the first chapter, she tells him, like, I don't want anything to do with you then. I'm not gonna be in love with you. You're a liar. I don't like the way that you're acting because now you seem like a playboy, and that's the kind of guy I hate and do not like. Well, he's just so intrigued of how she voices her opinions to him that he's like, well, I have fallen for you, and I'm gonna make you change those words. And it was very interesting to me of how hooked I got on this first chapter. I was like, well, I wouldn't mind reading it for myself, but it's a little bit upsetting to know that we don't have the very end, and I don't know where this manga ends and what we do have in English, and it's definitely out of print, because just for volume 1 right here, from where the website I'm looking on is $18 or $14, volume 2's $25, and then volume 4, 6, 9, 7... 5, 10, 8, 3. None of them have listings for like where you can even remotely buy a paperback used. So I definitely feel it's underrated. I feel for that reason alone. I know I can't talk in depth about this series the way I have the others. I mean, yes, I could have mentioned like Cinderella Closet I've read the first 2 volumes of that, and I know my friend Fire absolutely adores that series. Also, the book club I was part of, they read that. I wasn't able to read further because my library didn't have the copies, but that's a really great series from what I have read of that one. one, I discovered another series called Crown of Thorns. But this one, I don't know. To be hooked so quickly on a first chapter really impressed me a lot, because at first I was like, I really don't know about this whole host thing. And one of the reviews said it doesn't go very long, but I'm curious with how much she liked this idea of him. For him to be something else and him say, I'm gonna make you fall for me, I don't know, just had me really curious. I do like that trope where they gotta, the guy's gotta work for it. He can't just get it easy, so to speak. And I don't think he's like a bad guy or anything. It sounds sort of like that when I say it that way, but he genuinely wants to earn her affection. And I'm very curious of how that unfolds, of how that happens. So if you've read it before, please let me know. Do you feel it's also underrated as well as these other titles? And if you're also curious of what other titles I feel are underrated, here are some of the ones that I have put on this graphic. The Devil Does Exist, didn't even know that was a thing. I put Crimson Hero on here because it's out of print and I don't know how many people have been able to read this, but also, as I mentioned before, Crown of Thorns, Crazy for You, a digital manga by the same creator as Kimi ni Todoke. I mean, there's quite a few that are not just the big ones of Wolf Girl and Black Prince, Sakura Saku, Rainbow Days, all really big, I feel almost iconic series. I mean, almost all of them either have a really big creator or they have an anime and people have heard of them and have taken in the story in some kind of way. But yeah, let me know which of these titles seem most interesting to you, what other underrated series you would choose, either from my top 5 or from that list. I would love to know. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!